This is the REDMAGIC Astra 2 gaming tablet, and I have to say I have not used an Android tablet in a really long time. The last time that I used an Android tablet was the Nexus 7, which was a really great system, but I eventually picked up an iPad and didn't feel the need to use it anymore. And I have to say, Android tablets have come a really long way. This is incredibly sturdy feeling. It feels like it's an all-metal design. The build quality is really great, and the size in the hand is fantastic. And being able to bring this with me and be able to play PC games on this tablet on the go on something as small and thin and light as this is just a really great experience. Before we go any further, this video is sponsored by REDMAGIC, but they don't get to tell me what to say. Basically, they're paying me to prioritize their video over all of the other videos that I want to make. Let's take a second to talk about the tech specs of this thing. It comes with a Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 plus a REDMAGIC Red Core R4 processor. The cooling system in this is what they call the Aqua Core system, and it uses liquid cooling. I don't know how liquid cooling works in something this small and thin. The only experience that I have with liquid cooling has been in my PC, which is actually not hooked up right now because I just moved into the NerdNest here. But it's crazy to me to think that there is liquid cooling happening in something this thin and light. On the back of the tablet, you can actually see the liquid moving through these little chambers because it's backlit by like an LED light. It looks really cool, and it shows that the liquid is moving, which is crazy looking. The screen on this thing is absolutely gorgeous. It's a 9.06 inch OLED screen with a 185 hertz refresh rate. It's got a peak brightness of 1600 nits. The full screen brightness is 1100 nits. The resolution is 2400 by 1504. It has a 16 by 10 aspect ratio, which if you are familiar with the Steam Deck, it's going to have that same aspect ratio. I always prefer a 16 by 10 aspect ratio to a 16 by 9 aspect ratio. I feel like you get just a little bit more of that vertical space, and it really does help with immersion, especially when you're looking at smaller screen devices like a tablet like this. The bezels on this are incredibly small at just 4.9 millimeters. And because of those extremely small bezels, according to REDMAGIC, this has a 90.1 screen to body ratio. If we take a look around the outside of the device, we can see that it has a power button on the top, and the power button also has a fingerprint reader so that you don't have to put in a code every time that you're launching this thing. You just touch the power button and it turns right on, jumps right into your main menu. There's this weird little red button. Actually, it's not a button, it's a switch, which I'll talk about later. We've got our volume rocker over here. On the bottom of the device, we have a single USB-C port, not in the middle like you would expect, but it's pushed up to the top just a little bit. But then when you turn it around to the very side of it, you can see that there's a second USB-C port. This was incredibly useful for me when I was transferring all of my ROMs, like my emulation stuff, from this hard drive onto this device. I could also have it plugged in at the same time so I wasn't running down the battery, which really saved me some time and a headache, because when you only have one USB-C port, you can either transfer files or you can charge. You can't do both at the same time without having to get out a dongle, and I just moved. I don't know where any of my dongles are. So the fact that this has two USB ports, that's going to be huge for anybody who's a heavy user like me. One thing that I like about this is it's got a completely flat design, and this is surprising because it does have a pretty decent camera in here. In fact, if I hold this up and take a picture, you can see what that camera looks like. I'll flip it around and take another picture. There we go. Let's see what that picture looks like. I look stupid. It also has a selfie camera, so you can take pictures of yourself if you want, and now you can see what that picture looks like yourself. Now, the main reason that I wanted to talk about this tablet is because you can run PC games on it. Not the most powerful PC games, but, you know, lightweight PC games, and being able to take these with you on the go on something this thin and this light is definitely a compelling use case scenario. But before we get to that, I want to talk about just the experience of using this as just a regular tablet. So the aspect ratio and the form factor, it means this is something I'm going to be reaching for all of the time, either to read books or to just watch videos without having to use my phone. This is something I might use as a secondary monitor for my camera so that I can see what I look like before I start recording, all of that kind of thing. This feels like an extremely premium build quality tablet, and it's not something that I've ever experienced when using Android tablets before. But the reason we're here is to talk about video games, and so let's talk about the experience of playing games on this thing. I have been playing a whole bunch of different emulated games, and we'll get to PC games in a second. But if you are getting this in order to play games through emulation, you're going to have no problem with this. I would say with PlayStation 2, I was able to easily play games on PlayStation 2 with a few exceptions. So, for example, God of War 2 ran like an absolute dream on this. I believe I was using 5x upscaling on this because the screen resolution is so high, and it still ran really, really great. The one issue that I had with PlayStation 2 emulation is when I was playing Soul Calibur 2, and I was playing as Kalik versus, I can't remember who the other, Tenna, I think is her name, but I was playing against her, and as I was fighting, I kept getting these shader compilation stutters. Now, as you play through the game long enough, eventually those shader compilation stutters are going to start to smooth out, and then you'll have I would assume, a smooth experience playing that game. But any of the other PlayStation 2 games that I fired up, I didn't have any problem running those games. They all ran fantastically well. And if they're going to run well for PlayStation 2, then any other system that came out before the PlayStation 2 is easily going to run fine on this machine. Now, another system that I've been emulating using the REDMAGIC Astra 2 gaming tablet is Nintendo DS. Of course, the processor in this is way more powerful than you would need to play DS games, but because this OLED screen looks so fantastic and has such a tight pixel density, I feel like Nintendo DS games just look awesome on this. And you have the added benefit of it being a 16:10 aspect ratio, which is almost perfect for stacking two Nintendo DS screens right on top of each other. So you see nothing but game. And if you're playing a game that is relatively easy to control with touch screens, like say Advance Wars or something like that, then what I would do is I load up Melon DS and I move the controls up to the top of the bottom screen, and then I'm able to hold it like this in my hand and control the entire game just like you would on a DS, but everything is so much bigger and just pops off the screen. It also has stereo sound because it has a speaker on both sides of the tablet. So when you're holding it in landscape mode like this and you're watching a video or you're playing a game, you can experience stereo sound, or you can switch over to some Bluetooth headphones, or you can use the USB-C to use USB-C headphones in order to get some really great audio out of this. Let's take a second to talk about the dedicated red switch on the side of the tablet. If I flip that switch over, it activates what's known as GameHub mode. And if you look at this, you can see that it only has games in here. So this is basically a way to say, okay, I'm ready to play games. I don't want to see anything that's not a game. So if I flip that switch, it pops up this new user interface. One thing that I like about it, though, is when you start a game, you have these little things that you can slide in from the top left and top right of the screen that gives you the ability to change your performance profile of the APU inside this tablet. You have three modes. You have Eco, Balance, and Rise. Eco obviously makes it sip the battery, so if you're playing a game that is incredibly lightweight, that doesn't require tons of power, your battery is going to last a really long time. If you switch over to Balance mode, I think you know what that does. And then the last mode is the Rise mode, which is the one that's going to run things at a higher temperature. It's going to run through the battery a lot faster. You don't want to use this unless you have to use it in order to make the games run well. But like I said before, one of the things that I'm really excited about for a device like this is the fact that I can play my lightweight PC games with me wherever I am on a thin and light device. Now, of course, if you're going to do that, you also need to have a controller with you. Most of my stuff is packed up, so I just grabbed an Xbox controller and paired it. It instantly worked, and I was able to play games like Hollow Knight Silksong, Celeste, Ball X Pit, Animal Well, Gravity Circuit. If you haven't played Gravity Circuit, you absolutely want to play Gravity Circuit. And these games ran incredibly well. Now, if you are somebody who wants to play PC games that are a little more demanding than the ones that I just rattled off, you're definitely going to run into issues with compatibility, not because this isn't a powerful device, because as far as Android systems go, this is one of the top of the line chips out there. It's just because Android emulation of PC games is very, very early days. And so I think that this stuff is going to improve over time as things like Game Native and GameHub improve over time and give you the ability to play games at higher frame rates because the emulation got better. I just think back to years and years ago when you first tried to do emulation, you always ran into a few hiccups. And over time, those hiccups got smoother and smoother and smoother until now you can emulate just about anything under the sun these days. The game that I've been spending the most time on this tablet playing is Gravity Circuit, which if you haven't played Gravity Circuit, it's this fantastic side-scrolling beat-em-up Mega Man style game with punching and a grappling hook instead of a gun. These are the PC games that run fantastically well on Android devices, and this tablet is one of the best ways to experience those games. It comes in a couple of different colors and a couple of different versions. This one is what is called the Black Eclipse version. They also have what's known as a Silver Star Frost one, which is more of a white color. And it comes in two different versions as far as the internals. One of them will be 12 gigs of RAM with 256 gigs of storage. And then there's another version that has 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of storage. This one, which is the lower tier version, comes in at $700. And then the one that comes with 16 gigs of RAM and half a terabyte of storage is going to come in at $800. So for me, this is going to be something that is like a little miniature tablet first and a gaming system second, but it's really nice that I can take something this thin and light with me wherever I go and be able to enjoy it in all of the ways that you can usually use a tablet. But then if I want to play a game for a little bit, I can either use touchscreen controls or just keep a controller in my backpack and be able to do that as well. Most of the time when I'm talking about devices that I use on this channel, a lot of times these are unitasker devices that are made specifically for one use. They're made specifically to play games. This is not made just for games. It's a multitasker. You can do a lot more with this. And the fact that it has a really good operating system and the build quality is just off the charts, I love this tablet. But what do you guys think? Are you interested in gaming tablets like this with liquid cooling and all of the bells and whistles that have been thrown at this thing? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe. From the new NerdNest, I'm Bill. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.